Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Naomi Carmack. I'm really excited to bring you the very first episode of my new podcast focused on the smaller known entities of the 90s. This is Dope Nostalgia. And yes, this is our very first episode. In the future, I'm going to be having some co-hosts come down and join me, and we're going to be discussing the different artists, all kinds of crazy stuff. You guys are also invited if you're interested, if you want to join the show for an episode, or you just want to bring up a certain band you want to talk about, any of that. You just email us and let us know. Our email address is Dope Nostalgia Podcast. I know it's really long, but yeah, I couldn't find anything else that was free on gmail.com. Send us an email. Let us know what you want to see. I'll be telling you guys later about all our social media, so you can follow us, subscribe, all that good stuff. And in the meanwhile, our very first episode, we're going to focus on a band that I was lucky enough to interview one of the guitar players for last week. His name is Tim Stevens. He's currently living in Mississippi, and he took some time out of his schedule to talk to me. It was supposed to be a 15-minute interview. It ended up being a whole hour, because that's a good sign of a great conversation. Things went great, and he's a fabulous guy to talk to. Really down to earth, really awesome. So I'll be bringing you that shortly. In the meanwhile, we got to give you some of the history on this band, the band EMF. Okay, this song was massive. It came out in 1990 from the album Sherbert Dip. The band EMF put it out, and it became a #1 U.S. Billboard hit single. Now, I had the opportunity to hear the song probably back on AM radio. It was 1990, so our big hit station where I grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, was called 630 CHED. They had the Open House Party, which was a big syndicated show across, and it still exists today, the Open House Party, just not here in town. Wikipedia moment. EMF are a British alternative rock band from Cinderford, Gloucestershire. Now, I don't know if the Gloucestershire is like Worcestershire, where there's actually where you just say Worcestershire. I can't even say that word. Anyways, they're from England, and they came to prominence at the beginning of the 90s during their initial 8-year run from 1989 to 1997. EMF released 3 studio albums and went on hiatus and reformed twice. Their first single, Unbelievable, reached #3 in the UK. Only #3 in their home country, but #1 right in the US from their debut album, Sherbert Dip, that went to #3 in the UK albums charts. The band have split up and reformed 3 times. The members of EMF consisted of James Atkin on vocals, DJ Milf, the turntable master, Ian Dench on guitars, as well as Zach Foley on bass, and on drums, Mark DeClout. This was the original lineup of the band that had broken up a couple times, got back together. Tim Stevens joined the band as the guitar player in the year 2007 when the band reformed again. Unfortunately, Zach Foley passed away on January 3rd, 2002 of a drug overdose. Now, the band name EMF is an abbreviation of the phrase Epsom Mad Funkers. It was a name taken from a fan club of the band New Order in 1989. The song Head at the Ball, which featured on the remix single release of Lies, featured the phrase ecstasy motherfucker. So, henceforth, people thought that was what EMF stood for, and they were wrong. In 1990, their debut single, Unbelievable, topped the charts in many countries around the world, but it wasn't until July 1991 where it hit #1 in the USA. The single featured sampled utterances from comedian Andrew Dice Clay. He was a hot comic. He was bad back in the day. Now he's pretty tame, but yeah, Andrew Dice Clay, look him up. EMF released their debut album, Sherbert Dip, which went to #3 in the UK, as I mentioned earlier. The name was explained by songwriter and guitarist Ian Dench as, "If I'm ever short of a chord sequence, I nick one from Sherbert." There you go. Successful singles from the album included I Believe, Children, and Lies. The latter was controversial as it included a voice sample of Mark Chapman, John Lennon's murderer. Yoko Ono, Lennon's wife, achieved an injunction, and a modified version was included in future pressings. So the band had a big hit on their hands, first album doing great, so what do? you released your sophomore album. So in 1992, EMF returned with the Unexplained EP, which included a cover version of Search and Destroy, and later the album Stigma, their second album. Now, both of these releases didn't do so hot on the charts, unfortunately. The singles released were Getting Through, They're Here, and It's You. In 1995, they came out with the album Cha Cha Cha, released a couple singles, and also teamed with some comedians and recorded a version of I'm a Believer, the cover of the Monkees classic, which once again got them onto the UK singles chart at number 3. After that, they put out another single called Afro King, which didn't do so well as well. So this ended up being the first time the band split up. They got together again in 2001 to give a reunion gig in London and release a greatest hits album. Unfortunately, in 2002, then Zach had passed away from a drug overdose of non-prescribed drugs. A few more gigs that year and the band decided to split for a second time. Then 2007 rolls along. They got back together to do a one-off gig at King's Cross, London, and hey, they did some more shows together as well, also introducing the guitar player Tim Stevens to the band. So then they did some more gigs and broke up again, 2009. Third reunion happens. They get back together again, play every track from the album Schubert Dip in order to coincide with the 21st anniversary re-release. Tim Stevens, all the way from Mississippi, decided to take some time out of his schedule and chat with me. I'd like to share that interview with you now. You joined the band in 2007 as the guitarist when Ian Dench departed the band. Had you been playing in many projects before joining EMF?
Yeah, I've been playing in like a lot. I've been playing a lot of, doing a lot of session work outside of that band. I used to play in a band called Thirst. They were signed to it like a San Francisco label called Zip Records or something. They had an album out. Did some recording with those guys. Actually, the bass player who plays for EMF now, Steve Marsh, he was in the same band. So we're actually like best buds.
Oh, cool.
I got on the gig to play bass for EMF in like 2011 or something, I believe. But yeah, I've been playing since I started guitar when I was like 7. So my dad used to take me around to like local bars and stuff and just throw me in the deep end with like other bands saying like, go and earn your keep, son.
That's good.
It was fun there.
It's good to have supportive parents, especially in the music business.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been floating around in the industry for a while doing like just bits and pieces with bigger bands and stuff. But when I hit the gig with EMF, it was kind of surreal. So it was kind of weird because I was kind of a big fan of theirs anyway.
Yeah.
So it was quite cool.
Yeah. How did you discover the band?
How did I discover the band?
Yeah.
Basically, when I obviously used to live in Cornwall with my parents, and I remember just sitting with my dog in front of the TV in like, I don't know, it must have been either 1990 or 1991, and they were on, I think it was like Top of the Pops. Yeah. And they were playing like obviously Unbelievable and stuff, but they caught my eye straight away. I was like, I want to be in this band one day. Kind of turn around to my mum and sort of jokingly say, like, this is the coolest band ever. So getting a phone call from the drummer of the band asking me to audition for the band was kind of surreal again. Because it actually happened. Dreams do come true.
No kidding, right?
Kind of funny.
Now, I'm kind of going off the script here, but in Canada, I know...
Yeah, go for it. It's fine.
Unbelievable was obviously a massive hit in Canada, but I'm imagining in the UK their success was probably great, like a lot bigger and more huge.
I'm not actually sure. I actually think, and this is, the band might misquote me here, but I think they went to number 1 in America. I think they went number 1 in Canada. I'm not sure. I think they did though. Like they were bigger. I think they were bigger outside of England, from what I'm gathering.
Yeah, that can happen.
I could be wrong, actually.
No, but that definitely can happen, and it is true. They did have a U.S. number 1 Billboard top hit with Unbelievable. So that really broke them stateside. You yourself, did you attend music school, or are you self-taught?
Well, I mean, I had a guitar teacher when I first started,
Mm-hmm.
and then he decided to move to America.
Oh, yeah.
So then I kind of went off on my own, and then me and Steve, the bass player of EMF, we both went to the same college together, and it was studying like performing arts at like college, which is, I don't know if you have in America, college is like university, so
Yes.
this is more like, I suppose you would call it high school in America. I don't know about Canada. It's like when you hit 16, you go off and do like something where it's actually more what you want to do in life. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
me and him went to South Downs College in Hampshire, in England, and got up to all sorts of fun.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm sure if you speak to that guy, he'll tell you some funny stories.
No kidding, eh?
But yeah, so like I've got a bit of both. Really. I've got like a bit of self-taught and a bit of obviously academic stuff. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, in Canada, it's like,
yeah.
Canada's a bit different. It's elementary, junior high, high school, and then college or university. Kind of how it
Yeah, it's just like it's a little bit more like America than in what part of Canada? What bit of Canada do you live?
I'm in Western Canada, so I'm in a province called Alberta,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
that's cool because I know a lot of times I'll talk to people in America who don't know where things are in Canada, so I totally understand when people don't.
Like since I've been here like 5 years in America, and I haven't hit everywhere. I've been to like the West Coast, the East Coast. I've been all the way Midwest. I've been to a lot of Texas. You know what I mean? But like I always like to find where I am in the world, and in relationship to me, because like Canada and America are such big continents. Like it's. I played a show with the band I'm in now up in a place called Frankenmuth, which is like just north of Michigan,
Okay.
like right on that peninsula up there. And that's like right next to Canada, but I don't really know what part of Canada that's next to.
No, that would
yeah,
be probably
we
close
made
to
that drive.
Ontario. I'm guessing for Michigan,
maybe,
it would be
yeah.
pretty close. Ontario is a huge
Yeah.
province, so. But yeah,
That was a long drive.
I can only
That was a
imagine.
horrendous drive. It was like 15 hours or something crazy from Florida, where we were playing the night before.
This is a
Or
hard
2
country
days before.
for musicians to tour. This is a hard country to tour because of the massive size.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. Just stick me on a plane. Come on. I don't want to do the driving. I'm
Right.
English. We don't do driving.
I need to visit Europe because everything's so close together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, you don't have to drive too far for it.
yeah.
Go on, sorry.
One of the tracks I enjoy is Skin. The guitar work on it is very melodic. To me, it's essentially the melody of the song. What are your favorite tracks to play on?
I think one of my favorite songs that EMF ever played is Arizona.
Okay.
You know that song?
Yes, I've heard that song. Yeah, and I think it's one of the-
It's got a very melodic. It's not offshoot with it, but it's still a very melodic guitar line. Ian was great at it. I mean, because he's classically trained, he was like bringing up a lot of those kind of melody kind of guitar lines, which I always enjoyed playing, especially if you've got the right sound to embellish that. It was always good, and I really like James's vocals on it as well. Like if you listen to that song, it's I don't know what it is, but the way he, because obviously if you listen to the way James sings, which is it's very British sounding. I think that's the American. It's on the Stigma album anyway. But if you listen to Stigma and listen to Arizona, I think it's like track 2, wasn't it? It's a really not well composed song, but the lyrics are really, really, really good.
Yes, it is. It's track 2.
And his tone and yeah, and it was always it's a nice guitar line to play. I never got to play it much with him. I think we played it like once or twice. It was always a fun song to play. So.
we're going to have a Spotify playlist set up, obviously, for everyone to be able to hear some of the songs we're talking about today. So that's something that I will be sharing with everybody, our regular Spotify playlist with all the EMF tracks.
Cool.
Now, I didn't want to ask you too many boring questions, so you probably heard over and over and over through the interviews.
Very good.
But I'm going to ask you one that I'm sure you've been asked. Epsom Mad Funkers.
I get asked this all the time, you mean? I know what you're going to say.
Where did it come from? Where's it came from?
I see. Now that's one thing. That's one thing I don't know. The question I get mostly is like EMF. What does it stand for? And obviously, I don't know. Can I swear on this podcast or not?
Oh yeah, sure.
I can. Right. So obviously, EMF. Like you obviously know it's Epsom Mad Funkers.
Yes.
But throughout the other song, like through the songs, like Gary hit these samples. Which is like ecstasy, motherfucker. I mean, you know, so like everyone always thought it was ecstasy, motherfucker. And there's a song obviously called EMF, which is ecstasy, motherfucker, motherfucker, from us to you, you know. Mm-hmm. So people thought it was that.
Right.
But the one thing I know is they couldn't fit Epsom Mad Funkers on their first poster for the gig. They had a gig somewhere.
The poster was
and they
so
couldn't
small.
fit it on, so they just abbreviated it to EMF. And voila, there's your band name, you know.
Perfect.
Which is pretty cool. But I do chuckle with myself when people ask me all the time if I bump into them what it actually stands for.
That leads me. That's a good explanation, and that leads me into another question too. I actually received a question from a listener beforehand. Her name's Crystal from Edmonton. She was wondering if.
Hi, Crystal.
She's wondering if in the song "Unbelievable," if they are saying "What the fuck." Are they saying that?
Yeah, it's samples. Yeah, there's samples to it. A lot of samples were in the EMF music. If you listen to it, you'll hear loads of samples taken from like radio DJs and all kinds of things. But yeah, it is.
It is. She'll be happy to know.
I don't want to swear again, but
it's fine. It's fine. This is like
my mum will kill me if I swear again.
Do you ever get bored of playing Unbelievable, or how do you keep it fresh for yourself? Like, obviously, you're not doing it now, but then did you ever get bored of playing the same hit over and over?
No. When I was playing in the band, it was. I mean, all the other songs in the set you can play in front. Like I played something like a few shows like to big crowds, you know. Mm-hmm. And having when you play a song that everybody knows, everybody's going to sing it back to you. You know, if you play like Arizona, for instance, what we were talking about just a minute ago, or if you were playing like the Burns or any other song, unless they're hardcore EMF fans, they're not going to sing it back to you. But everyone on this planet knows Unbelievable. Unfortunately, the song is bigger than the band, you know. So everybody will sing that back to you. And if you've ever heard 5,000 people or 10,000 people sing that song back to you, it's pretty scary.
I don't think that would ever get
pretty
old.
Scary, but it's cool.
Having that many people know your music, yeah. So were you guys?
Right.
I know. Like we said earlier, you did join the band later, but were you guys bad boys? Did you and your mates get in trouble?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, any band who likes to drink and have fun, I learned a lot of bad habits from that band. Getting in trouble for stuff, you know. I mean, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus on this podcast, but yeah. I'm still the same in the band I'm with now. Mm-hmm. The band I joined 5 years ago. The singer is just like me. He likes to get in trouble. He likes to have some fun. Yeah. Like, you know, off stage and on stage, you know.
Yeah. I get it. I'm still partying myself. So.
You know, every member of EMF are super sweet guys. Like, they're very humble, you know, but they're also a lot of fun as well. I mean, Gary, the synth player, plays the keyboard and stuff. You know, he's awesome fun. You can't, like, he's that guy. If you're not smiling, he's like, put a smile on your face, sunny kind of thing. You know, he's a lot of fun. So I miss those guys actually. But it's just funny, you know, like looking back at how humble and sweet they are, because they really are really nice guys.
Yeah.
But they are they are bad boys, yeah.
That's good. You know,
but I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to throw them.
They're enjoying life, and that's what you got to do. So it's
exactly.
Good. It's good to hear that they're wonderful, humble people too.
Like in this industry, there's too many assholes, you know, where they're not like that. You know, I've met a lot of guys where I'm just like, shut up. Like, you don't even have a right to be that kind of way. You know, you should always be humble, no matter who you are. You know, like, you know, be a nice person. You know, everyone's the same at the end of the day. You know, you'll drink coffee in the morning.
It's true. We all have the, like, ups and downs and problems, and just how you deal with it matters. Right. Yeah.
We all watch Game of Thrones. I mean, what's the problem?
Damn right. We sure did. So there's this phenomenon that people say exists at around the age of 30. Many of us just stop listening to new music and just listen to what they already like. For me, that's very true, because I'm very stuck in the 90s, hence this podcast. Do you listen to new music? And who's a recent artist that you enjoy?
Yeah, like going back to the band I'm playing in, like we do so many miles. Like Sunday we drove like 9 hours from Dallas back to where we live in Mississippi. And like, what are you going to do? Like, Spotify is really good for that, because you can find real, you know, like new music and stuff. So yeah, we like to obviously listen to the oldies and goldies, but we also like to listen to new music. And they don't really on like the radio nowadays. They don't really show you anything. You know, you have to actually, which is actually in a good way. You have to go and find it yourself.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
But I used to not like Spotify, because obviously you don't get paid. Shall I say this? Yeah.
No, you can say this.
You don't get paid as much money as you used to.
Yeah.
Right. But like places like Spotify and, you know, Apple Music and Pandora, they show you the new music, which I find amazing. So, and it depends on what you like. And if you like a certain band, it will recommend something that, you know, might be up your alley. You know, so. But yeah, like new bands, new artists I've found. There's an English band called Massive Wagons. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I haven't.
They are awesome.
Yeah.
They have a song called Billy Balloonhead, and we always put that on when we're going somewhere, just to get us pumped up for the big drive. You know, they're kind of like they're rock and roll bands. You know, they're not like, I mean, EMF is a rock and roll band too, but they're more electro pop rock and roll. You know, this is like, they're actually just a straight rock and roll band. You know,
right. Which
kind of similar to sort of like Jet and bands like that. You know, but I don't know. It's just they're kind of lined up
it's good.
My 2020.
There's not
so
enough.
far this year, they've been awesome.
There's not enough rock and roll in the world anymore, so it's good to know
there isn't
the good bands that are still making it happen, right?
Yeah, there's those guys, and if you like something heavier, like similar to like a band like Blackstone Cherry, there's a band called Monster Truck, and I don't know where they're from.
They're Canadian.
They're sorry,
Monster Truck, I believe, are Canadian.
Oh, you know Monster Truck?
Yes, we do.
They're fantastic.
They do play. They played my city opening for Slash and the Conspirators.
Oh, okay.
So they're very popular here.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're a great band. So yeah, big shout out to them guys too, because they keep us pumped up on the road. Nice. Hopefully, I think you'll probably have to find Massive Wagons and Monster Truck on the same bill, probably somewhere in Canada.
Good. Good.
I think I'd explode if I ever saw that one.
And they're marketing geniuses because of the T-shirts. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're shirts say "Don't fuck with the truck," and
fantastic.
And everyone wants one of those shirts, so it's very brilliant.
I bet they do. And fuck with the truck. That's brilliant.
So your current project is with I want to say the name right. Mo Giles.
Right?
How do I say
Yeah,
it?
Mo Giles. Yeah.
Mo Giles
I,
Band.
I say it wrong too. I think Mo Giles.
Mo Giles.
Americans say it with the Giles. Mo Giles band.
Awesome. How did you get involved with that? And what's are they bluesy? Are they doing originals? What are they all about?
It's you can listen to it on like Spotify and stuff. If you put there's Mo Giles, which is like where you split the Mo and the Giles up,
Hmm.
and you can also put it together and find Mo Giles. And the earlier stuff we did was some original stuff, more of a pop country, like pop rock country kind of thing. You know, a bit like Florida Georgia Line
Hmm.
kind of thing. You know, I don't know if you know that band.
Yep.
That's the kind of where it sort of started, and then slowly it's evolving. And I don't know what's going to be next, but you can find actually James. Next did a remix of our Spring Break single, which you can find on Spotify and stuff. So
That's awesome.
it's a dancey remix. He did a great job on it. So.
Okay. Well, good. I'll look for
But
that.
how did I get involved? It was how was it again? I can't remember now. Basically, me and my girlfriend at the time went on a cruise, and but I get real itchy when I haven't got a guitar around me. So we're going away for a week. What am I going to do? I want to go and play guitar somewhere.
Hmm.
So I think the first night we were there, we went down to this little blues bar on the ship. And what was the guy's name? Slam Allen, I think his name was.
Hmm.
It's like a three-piece kind of band, basically, that were playing there. They were just like jamming covers, basically, in this like, little blues bar. But I was attracted to going and seeing music. But I think word got around. I mean, I had a big pink mohawk at the time, so I was walking around down the ship and making a little bit of, people like getting people talking and stuff about, who's this guy with a big pink mohawk on this ship where everyone else is wearing suits and stuff. But I went in there and the guitar player of the band looked at me and was like, for some reason he knew I was a guitar player and he basically just gave me the guitar. So I got up and just jammed some songs with them, and then in the end he said I could come every night and jam with those guys, which to me was awesome because me being without a guitar just sucks. I'm probably the moodiest, grumpiest person on the planet if I don't have a guitar in my hand. But yeah, the bass player of Mo Giles, the original bass player of Mo Giles, was on the cruise. He was on the ship, and he got up and just jammed bass on one of the songs what I was jamming on, and we just became friends. And then a few years later, he needed a guitar player. This is the short version. Needed a guitar player, and I was like 33 or 34 at the time, and nothing was going on with EMF.
Hmm.
So I was like, you know what? It sounds like a great idea. So I just, when I hit 34, 35, I'm not going to turn anything down,
Yeah.
So basically, we got, obviously, work visas and all that sorted out. And then I think I got here, I left the country on Boxing Day of 2014. And I think my first show was New Year with the band.
Hmm.
So that's how it kind of came about. But obviously, there was obviously a lot of talking and figuring out visas and all that kind of stuff, which is always a nightmare. I don't think there's a nightmare between England and Canada because it's something to do with the Commonwealth. Right? I don't think we need too much of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot easier with the Commonwealth, for sure. But, and I mean, after 9/11, trying to travel in America has always been a bit more difficult. So,
Yeah.
it's understandable. So that was one of my questions was obviously answered when you first started speaking when I asked, are you from America?
Okay.
Obviously, you're not.
Howdy, partner. No, I'm not. I'm English, living in America currently.
And you're from Cornwall?
Yes, I'm Cornish.
Okay.
I was born in Bath, in Somerset, originally, not too far from where the MF boys are. And then I grew up in Cornwall, and once I left Cornwall, I ended up just going and playing. I didn't want to do anything else. So.
Do you now spend much time in the UK?
to go back?
I haven't actually been back home in the last, since I've been here 5 years. I haven't been back. Like, my parents have been to see me, and my cousin Harry comes to see me too. You know, so it's more the since. This is no disrespect to Trump, but since Trump got in, he's tied up immigration. So for me to leave, like I've got an O1B work visa, you know, that I'm on currently.
Yes.
And it's like I can leave, but because I opened up a green card application, it puts a question mark by your name.
Right.
So like when I'm coming back, it's going to be like a headache for my immigration lawyer. He was like you can go back and see your parents stuff or whatever, you know, but it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare getting back in because it just puts a question mark, you know, like whole like driving here. As soon as you're trying to change like status or whatever, you know, it puts a question mark by the name. So I'd like to go back, but obviously, hopefully this year all of it will come together and I'll be able to go back and spend some time with the family, you know.
Yeah.
But,
it would be nice.
you know, there's really not much for me to go back for anyway. You know, I used to have a girlfriend that lived there, but I don't anymore. So. And my family like to come out here because I live in the South, and you know, Southern hospitality in America is a real thing. So it's a lot of fun.
I still need to visit.
Coming down here, they enjoy it. So
I need to visit the South. I haven't yet, so flown over it.
Yeah, it's fun down here. Like my sister, she lives in Philadelphia or New Jersey, somewhere in New Jersey or whatever.
Yes.
And and it's not no disrespect to America, but as soon as you go north, it's a lot different. Like attitudes are different, you know, and people are different.
Yes.
It's definitely a lot more laid back in the South, and the beaches are just unbelievable.
Nice.
Like Pensacola Beach, I think, is one of the top 5 beaches. That's where I moved to originally when I first came over.
To Pensacola.
So yeah, go there. Pensacola, yeah, Florida.
Well, it's something I'll have to do one day, for sure. Yeah, no, I just got home from Jamaica, so I flew over, but didn't.
Nice.
Nice.
That's a nice part of the world, Jamaica.
It's a beautiful country. The people are lovely. I really enjoyed it. Tell us about your gear setup for live shows. What brands of gear do you like to use?
All right, so when I was moving here, like before I left, I was using this brand called Friedman Amplification.
Can you say that again?
They're kind of funny. They make things. Sorry.
Can you repeat the name? I'm sorry.
Friedman. Friedman. Friedman Amplification. Yeah.
I've heard of
David
it.
Friedman makes them. Yeah, they make an amp called the Brown Eye.
Okay.
All of his amps are named after a real filthy thing. It's kind of funny. But like I was using one of those, and I've always gravitated to like multi-amp setups. So I like real amps, you know. And I'm endorsed by that brand, Friedman.
There you go.
And I use a Friedman with a Supro. There's another amp I use, and I use a multi-amp setup. And the guitars, I've always used as many guitars as I can get my hands on. But I've got a company, or there's a guy called Billy Rowe, which is rock and roll relics guitars. He builds all my guitars now for me. You can check it out on probably my Instagram page. See all the guitars that I use on.
Wonderful.
So, but my live setup is ridiculous. How many amps and.
So right here, at this point in the conversation, the phone decides to hang up. Great. So I'm like, oh no, I've lost this whole thing. But there's more to come. We're just going to get back to that after this break. It's that time of the show where we would like to thank Analog Brewing here in Edmonton for being the official beer of Dope Nostalgia. Located at 8620 53rd Avenue Analog Brewing is one of Edmonton's award-winning breweries. Look for their retro video game cans at your local liquor store or their growing number of tap handles around the city. Or better yet, go visit Adam and Brian in person. Their tap room is open Thursdays through Saturdays from 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. and enjoy $6 pints and an everyday low price of $13 per 4-pack on their retro styles with a Z, so you know they are 90s kids. That's Analog Brewing Company at 8620 53rd Avenue, Edmonton. Open Thursdays through Saturdays from 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. Analog Brewing, official beer of dope nostalgia. That's a little sample of the song Skin by EMF that I was just raving about. I really love this guitar part. And you know what? I think it kind of reminds me a little bit of the song If by Janet Jackson, just slightly. That dirty video. It was just the most amazing choreography. One of my favorites. But off topic. We're going back now to our interview where we reconnected with Tim Stevens. He called me back right away and we took off where we left off.
But yeah, I left off asking how many guitars do you think you have in your collection?
Oh my word! Right. Generally on the road we take 4, but I think I've got about 8. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think 8. Yeah, about 8 of them. So, yeah, and probably more to come.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you can't take them all out on the road because we just can't fit them all on the road, you know. So a lot of them stay here with, like, under the bed
You just have
or
to
in my studio.
pick the favorites for that time. They're like your babies.
Sorry?
They're like a musician's babies, right?
They really are. Yeah, I mean, there's some. They all sound different, and they all have their quirks. I actually built one of my guitars last year when my parents came over. I sprayed it up and bolted it all together, and it actually sounds. I've been using it today in the studio. So, but guitars all sound different, and anyone that says to me there's one guitar that can do it all, I will call bullshit on that, because there isn't. It's impossible. It's impossible for it to actually be that way.
So how they're built.
But yeah, I've used a lot of guitar in my lifetime, and sometimes you let one go because you don't use it as much, you know. But if I could afford to just keep all of them, I would have. You know, it's a shame, but
No, it's true.
do you play? Are you a guitar player? Or anything?
I play enough to write music. I don't play well, but I can play enough chords that I write with a guitar. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
I was going to ask you, what would you tell the 16-year-old version of yourself now?
Don't drink and drive. No, I'm joking. I don't know. That's a funny question. What would I tell a 16-year-old? When I was 16, I was playing as much as I could, and my dad, bless him, he was right. Just go out and, you know, cut your teeth out there. But what would I tell him? I don't know. Let me think about that while we go over some other, and I'll see if I can figure out something good to say.
Well, that's good.
Ask me another question.
So who have you had an opportunity to meet in the music business that you were excited to meet or taught you the most?
Okay. Yeah. It's probably there's a couple of producers actually, which taught me like a record producers that live in Los Angeles. It's Howard Benson and Mike Plotnikoff.
Okay.
They're known for so many records, like Blackstone Cherry. You know, they did like the Hoobastank. Remember that The Reason, they did that.
Yeah.
I think they did the POD records.
I remember
Especially
that.
the big one that everybody knows. Yeah.
Alive.
They've done everything. Exactly. That's the record. But they do a lot of stuff. I think they even did Kelly Clarkson and stuff, you know. But that's how I sort of I went there with Jack, who was playing drums actually. My cousin Jack, he was playing drums for EMF until Mark came back recently. I think Mark's playing the Canada show coming up now. Because Mark was he was out of the loop because he hurt himself. I think he fell off a roof or something and hurt his arm.
Damn.
So he was out. And my cousin Jack, who is he's like me, a session drummer. He jumped in the saddle and he was playing the shows with them. But me and him, we were working with this Russian artist called Max, and we were working. The record was being produced by Mike Plotnikoff and Howard Benson, and we'd already done a lot of session work, me and Jack together, let alone outside of that. But just going and working with when you work with really, really big guys in the industry, I learned more, not about my playing, just more about tones. Do you know what I mean? And guitar players in the studio have to do a lot of recording. Every song we're doing multiple, different guitars, different amps, just for different sections. And Mike Plotnikoff, he actually just helped me discover all the amps that I need in my life. He was using this company called Wizard amps. They're Canadian.
Wizard?
Yeah, Wizard. You know those?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, Wizard amp.
Okay.
Yeah, check them out. They're a Canadian company. They're probably, I would say, the biggest, most sought after amplifier on the planet, and he still makes them and makes them himself. He's the guy that makes them is the guitar tech for AC/DC. And he built them and modified their amps and obviously for Joe Perry from Aerosmith and all these other guys with an amps, and he actually has a couple of them because he's actually got an endorsement with those guys, Wizard amps. But they are honestly they're incredible amplifiers. I think it's Wizard and Friedman that kind of pretty much rule the roost in guitar amplifier, because they've taken the old designs but making it bomb proof and just modifying them and stuff, but just see it when I walked into the studio. What was it called? It's in Woodland Hill somewhere. I can't even remember the name of the recording studio, but they've got their own setup over there. And as soon as I walked in, there was, 20 amps on the wall that you can plug into just for different sounds. Old one, really old 50s and amps, and up to modern amps, so they had everything. So my playing, I didn't really learn much playing ability wise because I'd already cut my teeth in the studio with other producers, But the guitars and tones and things like that, I learned a lot from Mike that I use today. I was in a recording session last night with this up and coming kid called Morgan Tyler. Look out for him. He's actually got a song out on Spotify.
Morgan.
But I'm working with him in a moment. Morgan Tyler. Yeah.
Morgan Tyler, awesome.
Yeah. He's doing that kind of new country thing.
Okay.
But any of the tone and what guitars to use and stuff, I still use that in every session I do with whoever, even if it's not me playing, I'll make them use that kind of this sound for that, and I'll all the things I learned from Mike, I keep it in today. So thank you, Mike, if you're listening. He's probably working with some huge band somewhere, but so yeah, that's the person that I enjoyed meeting the most. I definitely would say.
No, it's wonderful, all the things you can learn from different folks along the way, especially producers.
Exactly.
For sure.
I think you learn more from actually experiencing something from people than you do in a classroom. Especially in the music industry, I think you can learn more actually going out and doing it.
It's true.
You learn a lot about yourself. So
some of the best people I know in the music business that I admire did not go to school for it. For instance, I would tell you my favorite guitar player is Nuno Bettencourt.
Okay.
He was he was in the band Extreme. He still is, but he's completely self-taught.
Yeah, he's a virtuoso kind of guitarist too. I mean, he's actually a Freeman artist too.
Is he?
He's on the same list as I'm on. Yeah, he uses the Brown Eye.
Excellent.
Bettencourt. Get the Funk Out. I was listening to that song the other day actually.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a fan for sure. I was going to say, what are your thoughts on the music business? No, we kind of touched on this when we talked about Spotify and
Yeah.
the payment. Your thoughts on the music business and how it's running now compared to like the 90s?
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, it's in some ways it's kind of disheartening a little bit, just purely from, like if I think about the bands I love now, would they be signed now? Like, would the Rolling Stones get, like, it's one of my favorite bands, the Rolling Stones. Would they get signed nowadays? I don't know. But they're like one of the biggest bands in the world.
Right.
And like I went and saw them recently in New Orleans, and their songs stand up today as they did, like, if you listen to the recordings, but like, I think Frank Zappa said it the best. It's like, it used to be no one knew, like the big wig A&R guy that nobody liked in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
He was that guy that, although he didn't know, he was always up for gambling on, let's take a shot. If it doesn't work, we won't do another album with him,
Mm-hmm.
But then they decided for some reason to get some, like, kids involved who they thought would know, and you got to put your hands up for those kids, because they did discover some great stuff. But they also developed a thing which I kind of hate about the music industry. No matter what artist I play for, the creativity side is lost. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We've narrowed down songs to be under 3 minutes long.
Yes.
It's got to sound a certain way, otherwise people, kids don't want to listen to it unless it's got this in it, and
Yep.
and like, I like the kind of, like, the bands, like, and that's one thing I really, although EMF are technically a pop band, they have their own thing going on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I think nowadays gets stifled in this industry, because the producer's brought in for a certain reason, because he's the hit maker kind of thing. And I don't want to sound negative about the industry, because I'm still working in it,
Right.
But go on.
Right. But there are frustrations involved. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Especially
I just feel like the creativity is not where it used to be. Like, artists really, they talk about artist development, and I've done a lot of development with a lot of artists from early days, and if you stifle the development in creativity, you're not going to find your Jimi Hendrix, or you're not going to find your Zeppelins or your EMFs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even Guns N' Roses and like Extreme and stuff. They got to, like, kids nowadays, when I, like, get in the room with, like, I shouldn't say kids, although I'm 40 in, like, a couple of days. Like, I feel weird saying kids, but basically, like, kids are going into the recording studio or into the jam room to jam over their songs now, and they are sticking to the rules. They're not trying to break the rules, bash the door down like everyone did back in the day. They're like, well, okay,
I couldn't agree with
our
you more.
song's like 4 minutes long. We need to shorten it down,
Yeah.
get it on the radio. It's like, you don't even know if it's going to get on the radio yet. Just have fun playing them.
Right.
But your audience, when you're in a band, your audience is going to be your best way of seeing if a song's good or not. Because if they like the song, if it's a good song, you can't beat a good song.
Mm-hmm.
Another producer I worked with was called Bob Marlette. Actually, I worked with Bob when the drummer of EMF, Mark DeClue,
Mm-hmm.
we actually had this little side project called Black Heart Dolls, and I was writing some songs basically, and we were just having fun, like playing.
Yeah.
And we went to Moray Valley, just over into Wales, just over the border of Wales, from where EMF are from, the Forest of Dean. And we were in there basically cutting some songs with Bob Marlette, which are really good. We still need to find a singer for that project. But when we were just like out to dinner one day with him, Mark and his family, and me, and all that, And I remember he turned around and said, like, it was kind of funny because, like, he would always, like, be like that father figure to you, and a lot of producers are like that, which I really respect, and I love it, you know. But he said to me, and I'll ask this question to you. He goes, so what's the cure for a bad snare drum sound? What would you say? What would you say? You know, you write songs. Let's say you've recorded some drums. What is the cure for a bad snare drum sound?
This is before recording it or after recording it?
No, you've recorded it and it sounds terrible, the snare.
You know what? I don't know, other than what you would do in the mix. Bury it.
Right. So we were like doing the same thing. We were like, okay, so you EQ it differently, or you slap a compressor on it, and he goes, you guys are totally wrong. All you need is a fucking good song. A good song will make that. It's irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? It's irrelevant, whatever, you know. And our minds were like blown. We were like, what a great answer. You know, you could fix a bad snare drum sound by having a good song, because it doesn't matter what it sounds like. A good song's a good song, you know, no matter how many times you record it. And that was like, I've worked my whole life with that now, going like a good song's a good song, you know. So
it's true.
You might need to cut some of that because I was swearing, but
I'm not worried.
you know, it's inspirational, things like that, and that's the kind of thing you want from a producer, especially. Like he cares more about what song and how the song goes than whether the drums sound good. You know what I mean? And like he's an old. I think he was Frank Zappa's keyboard player back in the day. You know, and he's done so many records. Like, look him up. These guys have like done so many. Even just as musicians, played as musicians on records, let alone like produce huge records. You know, I don't know. Like, I just respect that. You know, and I think that's when it comes down to the music business. You know, really, it doesn't matter. And I just think all you know, like up and coming artists and stuff, they need to just remember, like, go and be creative, like create a good song. Don't try and stick to the rules. Like the producer's going to do that anyway. You know.
At the end of the day, it's about the song. Yeah, it's always about the song. So I get it. Be creative.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel inspired.
Break the rules, man.
Yes. How else do we get anything new if you don't break the rules?
Exactly.
Now, what's the biggest show you remember playing with EMF? That was like the one that stood out in your mind.
I think the one that stood out in my mind is probably, I think it was my first or second show with the band. I think it was the second show because it was Brixton Academy. That's a 5,000 seater. I don't know if you've ever been to Brixton Academy, but
nope, but I've heard of it.
It's like you've got 3,000 downstairs and 2,000 upstairs, and it's like an old Victorian theatre, you know.
Nice.
So it sounds cool in there. And I remember like arriving there with my guitar tech. We drove together, I think, and we got set up. You know, sound check's a sound check. You know, I didn't use any ears or anything in these days. But there was, I think you can actually type in like EMF Brixton Academy, and you can see me playing Unbelievable with the band, and maybe some other songs of theirs.
So you can find that on YouTube.
So it's actually like, you can actually find this show on YouTube. But I remember we were upstairs getting changed, and it's a sold out gig. There were so many people in there, and we went for this UV paint thing, you know. So there are lights, but we have these huge like UV bulbs, like over the course of the stage, you know, to light us up, basically, to light our face paint and stuff up. And it was coming, like we were 5 minutes before showtime, and I remember standing inside the stage, and the other guys are waiting to go on, you know. We've done our potatoes, you know, there's like this thing that we do, like the EMF guys, if you speak to them, they'll tell you about, like, they do this, like, one potato, two potato thing before they go on, just kind of to get you riled up,
Yeah.
you know? And I remember my guitar tech was standing there with a guitar and a beer. He had a guitar in one hand, my guitar in one hand, which is already tuned up, ready to go, and a beer in the other. And he looked at me and went, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And then the house lights went down, and like all the UV paint started glowing on me. And as soon as the lights went down, you know, the crowd started screaming, and like the shivers went up my arm, like all up my spine.
Wow.
And I just remember, like, I kept shaking. He saw me shaking my hand because my hands went numb because I wasn't like it's that kind of adrenaline rush, you know. You're like, this is it.
Yes.
There's no turning back now, you know. And he put the guitar on me and he said, "Pound this beer." So I pounded the beer, and then he whacked me on the ass, and I just walked on stage, and it was a great show because it's like, you know, that big, you know, the crowd's going wild and stuff. But I think I remember it more, not because of the audience, because the audience was great. I just remember the feeling and having a great guitar tech in the industry, in a guitar player in the band. They're like your best friend because they know your guitars, they know what tuning's going to be, they know all of it, you know.
Yes.
And he could see the look on my face of like sheer terror. But it was like I really appreciate those kind. I actually kind of appreciate because after I did that, I haven't had nerves since. Do you know what I mean? Like I never had nerves big, but that kind of like topped it off for me.
Not the kind where you freeze up, like more like excited.
Exactly.
Yeah. Adrenaline.
You know, so that to me is always going to stick with me because like that guy, his name's Hot Steve. Hot Steve, if you're listening, this is a shout out to you. But he's called Hot Steve because he's got a really red face. He's actually the guitar tech for Therapy. He plays a bit of guitar for Therapy too. You know that band?
Hot Steve.
Therapy. I don't know if I made it over to Canada, but I don't want to put it in your playlist. But yeah, like I don't know. It was just a great feeling. You know, and it was even better coming off because you were buzzed because it was such a great show. It sounded good. Looked good. I mean, if you look it up on YouTube, you'll be able to see what it looked like and
I am going to
hear
look
the
it up
crowd.
on YouTube because like that sounds like the ultimate high.
Yeah, I was buzzing by the time I got there. Unbelievable. So.
No kidding. So do you prefer doing live performance or do you prefer studio work?
I love them equally. Like playing live is a different kind of beast. You know, studio work, you don't just get one shot at it. You know, because you're not like but you have to be more focused on your playing.
Yes.
I suppose not, but only because it is capturing a moment in time. And then obviously live, you have to be on point, but there's more of a tug and pull live, which makes, you know, one night could be better than the other, not because you played different, because you felt different or things sounded slightly different in your monitors, and you know, and the crowd was different, you know. So they're two kind of different beasts, really. But I couldn't choose one or the other because I love them equally. But there's nothing, you know. You get, I say, I'd get more of a buzz from live performance because you're getting the instant reaction from people.
Yes.
Whereas if I listen back to a record I played on, you're not getting that until you hear it on the radio, and then you go, "Oh, I enjoyed listening to my guitar there." You know, whatever. Plus, you can't go back in time and go, "Damn, I played that wrong. I should have did this in the solo."
Yes.
So they're different beasts, but I love them equally.
Yes.
But you know, the performance is always great. I enjoy that.
I get it. I've sang in a rock band for many years, so definitely there is something to be said for both, for sure.
Definitely.
I don't have too many more questions. One last question, and then I'm going to ask you some silly stuff. Do you have any regrets?
Regrets?
Yeah. About the path of your career, or are you pretty content with how things have gone?
No, I think here I'll tell you what I'll combine this into the same. You know, I would tell 16-year-old version of me.
Yes.
I'll knock these out with the two things. And that I've always been a hungry musician, you know, and I've always, my dad said this thing to me, he said, like, you know, you don't stop, you know, like, no matter what, you don't let anyone come in between you and, you know, like, yeah, you just work real hard and the rest of it comes along, basically, you know, to the limit and beyond, my dad would say.
Solid
And
advice. Yeah.
the only regret would be not doing enough when I was younger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Although I was out playing in bars and stuff, you know, by the time I got to like 19 and I had opportunities, which I won't go too much into, but I had other opportunities to play for some big bands, and I didn't, not that I didn't work hard enough, and I didn't, like, I would say I didn't deserve it, because I was young and dumb, thinking, you know, like I was there going, oh, I'm not going to get it. So, you know, I didn't give it like 900%, I gave it 100%, you know. You can always do more, and you can always play more, you know. And I think that's what I would say to the 16-year-old version of me is, don't turn anything down, don't listen to anyone but your mentors and yourself, and trust your own opinion, you know. Like, I'm hungrier now at 40 or 39 than I was back then, and I should have been just as hungry, if not hungrier, when I was 16. And I was probably the hungriest 16-year-old guitarist around, you know what I mean? But now I look back at it, I would like to go, look, do this, you know, and all the stuff I've learned from people like, you know, these producers I worked with, I want to tell that information to him too, you know, so. So yeah, kapow, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
It's a beautiful answer. And you answered both questions there. So solid. Good. So my silly questions for you to wrap things up.
All right.
You have to pick Bryan Adams or Bruce Springsteen.
Oh my God. Bryan Adams.
All right. Blink-182 or Green Day.
Blink-182.
Counting Crows or Matchbox 20.
I've seen Counting Crows bore me. Now, I'll go with Matchbox 20, but I wouldn't want to pick either of them. But I'll go with Matchbox 20.
Okay. Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera.
Oh, it is easy. Christina Aguilera. I love that Stripped album.
That is
That
a good
Stripped
album.
album was fantastic.
That is her best album.
Yeah,
in
the
my
guitar
opinion.
work on it. Yeah, it's such a good album, and the guitar work on it is fantastic too.
All right. New York or Los Angeles?
LA, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I do a lot more work over there, and again, it's that laid back vibe.
Yeah.
New York gives me like heart palpitations.
It's so,
It's
just
too much
busy.
of a stress. It's like going to London. Like no one chills out. Like, just take a lunch break, man. Don't eat your lunch while you're working.
Yeah.
Funny.
And
But yeah, let's go with Los Angeles.
yeah, I've been to New York. I haven't been to LA, but I'm going to change that.
Go.
I want to go to
Yeah,
NAMM.
go.
I want to go to NAMM. I missed it this year again.
Yeah.
Have you been to NAMM?
Yeah, NAMM's fun. Yes. Maybe next year I'll meet you over in NAMM.
Let's have
And
a
then
drink.
we'll,
We'll have a drink at NAMM.
right? We'll have more than one. I'm
Oh.
sure of that.
I never have like just one drink, so I'm in.
But yeah, I need to go back over there and you know, like, look after my endorsements, because I don't spend enough time with those guys, you know, like Billy and Dave, who do like my guitars and amps and stuff. I need to go over and do that kind of thing. You know.
Well, you know what?
So, yeah.
I know you mentioned you're going to be turning 40 soon, so I want to wish you a happy birthday ahead of time.
Thank you.
And I really want to sincerely thank you for spending this time with me today.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
There you have it, my interview with EMF's Tim Stevens. What a pleasure to talk to that guy. He was super kind and interesting. And the nice thing is 15 minutes was supposed to be, and it was an hour. So he really helped us out with our very first show. And if you want to follow him, you can find him on Instagram and Twitter as well. Check out the Mo Giles Band, where he's currently playing. Coming up on our next episode, we're going to be welcoming my good friend Colin Krieger, who's going to be my co-host for the show. We're going to be talking about some other artists such as Moxie Fruvis, Firehouse, Karen White. These are some of the artists we have coming up. And the list, you're not even going to believe how many artists we've brainstormed for this show. So it's only going to get better from here. More interviews, more fun. And I'm going to tell you all about the interview I did with the bass player of Moxie Fruvis, Murray Foster. What a wonderful guy. Some things went technically wrong with my recording, so I'll tell you the story about that. And I want to just celebrate my very first episode by cracking my Analog Brewing Three Amigos. This is the Peach Hot Pepper Hefeweizen, and it's going to be great. Thank you, Analog Brewing, for taking care of us and sponsoring our show and being the official beer of Dope Nostalgia. We're coming to you from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and we'll see you next episode. Got a question for us? Just email us, dopenostalgiapodcast@gmail.com. Twitter, you can find us at NostalgiaDope. Instagram, dope_nostalgia. Dope_nostalgia. That's how you find us. And our Facebook page. Just search Dope Nostalgia. See you guys.